Start on the big toe here. Oh, you had a little pus in here. So yeah, this patient came in and she had some pus and pain to this great big toe. And she just explained that she just had been dealing with chronic ingrown toenails and just had it and it was done. So we decided to go over the options, and she opted to have the entire toenail removed. She just did not want to deal with it. So I'm taking a freer elevator and gently loosening the nail edges around the nail folds, the cuticle area, and just underneath it, and then I'll get right in underneath the nail, over the nail bed, trying to make sure that I don't skive that nail bed and cause damage. You know, this patient had a really incurvated nail, and a lot of times that makes it easier to do this. And here's a little photo of her nail head-on view, that is. You can see how it just kind of curves so significantly there. And so now I'm taking a hemostat, removing that nail, and pops out very nicely. No damage to the nail root, which is great. We don't want to see that. And now we'll start adding the phenol medication, or carboxylic acid. 89% carboxylic acid is essentially phenol, what we utilize to cauterize and destroy the nail root and in the nail bed, because that's also where nail tissue grows. So you've got areas right underneath the nail fold toward the knuckle, which we're adding the phenol. And after the phenol, initially, that first round of phenol, I'll take a curette and almost like a little scooper and really try to make sure I'm getting all that tissue that is still in there that is producing nail. If you don't do this, this is how people end up with still having nail growing back, because this tissue right here that I'm removing will actually produce nail. And so oftentimes somebody will come to me and say, I had that procedure done, but I still got a nail growing back. And so this is where this is such a key and critical part of the procedure, that after we remove some of this loose nail tissue, I'll have to go right back with the phenol and cauterize some more. And normally I'll do about 3 sticks of the phenol with a total time of about 60 seconds to a minute and a half, just to make sure that all of that nail tissue is cauterized. We'll remove the tourniquet. I'll add a little bit of a wound gel called a Marigel dressing. Prior to this, I've washed it out with alcohol. I'll put a non-stick dressing just to make sure it's easy for this patient to remove this dressing the next day, because there's nothing worse than having this procedure and the anesthetic's worn off, and now they're trying to remove the bandage and it sticks, and that is just not fun. So that non-stick layer definitely helps. And so that does it for the big toe. But there's more. Bonus footage. We got a double play today. She's got a 5th toe that has a nail that is like a dog's claw. It is just so thick, and she wanted this removed as well. So after numbing them up, numbing that little baby toe up with a little anesthetic and a little tourniquet on top of there, I'm now loosening it up with a freer, taking a hemostat, and this one comes out pretty easily because it was already so thick. And I'll show you a little close-up here of how thick it was. It just really was just not going to do any better by, you know, doing topicals or trying to trim it down. And she didn't want to deal with that, so we decided to go and just remove it. You can see how thick it is at the very tip there. Just really, really thick. So again, making sure there's no other nail debris in there. I'll start off with the phenol medication again into the nail bed and the nail root. You can see it immediately turns white. And again, that's all that bleeding that is happening, a lot of it will be cauterized. Those blood vessels will be cauterized. The tissue will be cauterized. It's actually what it's essentially doing is causing a chemical burn to the tissue. And so people ask me often, well, why does it take 2 to 3 weeks for this to heal? I mean, isn't it like a cut that just heals in a couple of days? No, absolutely not. A phenol matrixectomy is essentially the medical term that we use for this. Takes about 2 to 3 weeks for it to completely dry up and heal, especially when we do a total nail. And so it is essentially a burn. So they're having to make sure that they're soaking it twice a day or using a wound dressing such as the Amerigel that will allow this to heal as quick as possible. So again, going back, making sure that all that nail tissue is completely destroyed is very, very important so that this nail does not return. And we'll flush it out with some alcohol, as I did with the prior one, as I described. And so we'll take off the tourniquet, put another non-stick dressing on there so that the nail the nail bed wound is not sticking to the bandage, and the patient will be a lot happier having that non-stick dressing on there tomorrow. Again, typically for something like this, the numbness stays for at least the rest of the day, and often for some people it can wear off late that evening if they had the procedure done in the morning. But for most people, ibuprofen or Tylenol is all that takes. But there are some people with low pain tolerance, and I'll have to prescribe a mild narcotic pain medication. We're putting on some adhesive or self-adhesive dressing. This is called Coflex. Another brand is called Coban. I love it. It makes it a lot easier to wrap up these small toes here. Hope you enjoyed. I'll leave you off with some past photos of that 5th toenail again, and we will see you next time. I appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe and like. Thanks.